I met a Gypsy.
Because it's hard to make 17 rounds Supercross. You know, like, I knew with me coming in the last 5, it's not guaranteed, but there's a good chance that it was going to be thinned out a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
Because it's just, dude, even when I did join, it got even more thinned out. Barsha and Roxon were out.
Yeah.
So it's like, dude, but A1, look how gnarly it is, you know? And it's just, that's what, you know, a lot of people don't understand. The training from, just say, November through December boot camp. You're riding hard. You're trying to level up. You're trying to get better. You're pushing. You're taking risks. So make it, that's 4 days a week. Then you get into racing, 2 to 3 days maybe. I mean, I do 2 now during the week while I'm racing. And just the level of, you know, the risk.
Dude.
It's just so gnarly.
I was at Star before Denver. I spent the week there. And I was just so I think Monday they rode. No, Monday was off. Tuesday, Wednesday they rode.
Right, that's my program.
And bro, like, I was uncomfortable watching what they were doing.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've been around it before, but it just seems like it's gnarlier now than what it used to be. And so, like, they had the Arlington track and just a hectic whoop section. And it's been beat all season. Mm-hmm. So, like, they're doing a little bit of maintenance through the, you know, every day before they ride, it's prepped.
Yeah.
But you're not rebuilding that whoop section and, like, getting rid of all the square edges, all the gnarly cups. And then the next day, they were riding the Salt Lake track. Mm-hmm. Gnarly set of whoops there. And it's just like, every fucking day, they need to do that. And then there's 10 of the bastards. So by the time the warm-up's done, the whoop section's completely cooked.
Yeah.
And it's just like, okay, the jumps, fine. The risk doesn't seem like it's there as much. But, dude, just the amount of laps that they have to go through whoop sections honestly made me uncomfortable, bro.
No, it's gnarly. You know, those guys are all pushing it hard during the week. You know, I was like when I was at Baker's factory too. Like, man, it was like full on race days. But I think when you first join doing that kind of program, it kind of wears on you. But I think once you get a little bit older, maybe like a Deegan now that he's done a couple of years, and like he doesn't let it affect him. If someone's faster than him, he's like, okay, that's fine. I'll bring it on Saturday. You know, so but yeah, it's gnarly. And then
just so much risk, bro.
It's so much. And the other thing that like freaks me out, because I've dealt with this a lot, is it doesn't even have to be your fault sometimes.
Yeah.
Bike malfunctions are the scariest, and I don't wish it upon my worst enemy, because they're just so violent, right? You'll be relaxed.
You're so committed.
You're committed. You're relaxed on the bike, and then something just happens, and it's just like, even if I see a video on Instagram, like, I have to look away. Like, I literally get.
You have PTSD.
I get nightmares. It will wake me up in the middle of the night because, it's just so violent, and that's what really scares me. But these things happen. That's why you need to, you know, have a good mechanic and have good parts on your bike and stuff like that, because that stuff will, when you don't expect it, break, you know, whether it's wheels, chains, sprocket, engine, you know, whatever. It's just, it's gnarly.
What's the worst one you've had? You don't have to say team or bike, but just the situation.
I've had a few, man. I've had a few.
Dude, that's way too many.
Yeah, I've had a few. Even when I was younger, just thing locked up off the face, landed on my feet, sprained both my ankles. I thought I broke them at first. For sure, I was like, they're broken. I can't walk. But they were just sprained. But you know how bad sprained ankles can be? You know, like, I was doing the ice bucket, ice hot, like doing everything for like weeks. And then when I could ride, it was just agony. But yeah, I've had a lot of that stuff. I've gone injured doing a lot of that stuff too. But that's the hard part. And it's happened a few times this year, I know, with some riders. But teams always try to keep a cap on it because it's not a good look, you know. But there's been riders injured because of bike malfunctions, and I'm not going to say what bikes or riders or teams, but that's just part of it. Every team, believe it or not, they always try to keep it under wraps, but the best of the best teams have these problems. It's just, these things happen.
Dude,
you know?
Look at F1. That's the pinnacle. They spend the most money on making sure motors don't break.
Yeah.
And there was 2 yesterday.
Yeah.
Just 2 stops.
But they are strapped in a car.
But what I'm saying is, like, they spend the most amount of money in the world on motors preventing them from breaking, and they still break. So it's like, why is it so taboo? Especially when it causes injuries.
Yeah.
You know, because especially now you get like the whole media cycle and, oh, this guy's always hurt. It's like.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I was going. Was it's really hard as a writer because you have this killer off season and you're feeling the best you felt, then something happens, and you get injured because a malfunction, and it's so tough because you're getting ridiculed in the comments that you're injury prone, you're always hurt, but you can't say what actually happened. Yeah, it's tough, and I've been in that position multiple times, but I understand it from the team's point of view. I totally get it, but it's hard to take for sure.
Well, I mean, Coop, I don't know exactly the injury, but so Coop has the crash at Melbourne.
Yeah.
And jacks his wrist up there. And then I heard he had another preseason crash and he just refused to talk about it. And he made a comment at one of the press conferences being like, oh yeah, there's an injury clause in my contract, so I'm not going to talk about it.
Yeah.
It's like, damn, bro. Like, that's crazy that he's like legitimately struggling and like wasn't even going to race at A1, but had to keep it under wraps.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's, there's a lot that's happening for sure that a lot of people don't know, Sometimes, the fans will see a good rider just like him, but I don't even feel like he struggled that bad at the beginning of the season. I think he got 4th at A1, but just any rider, and they're struggling a bit, then they're getting hammered for it, but they don't know behind the scenes, There's always a lot behind the scenes, but, it's part of the game.
If you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe. And to listen to the full 3-hour podcast, search Gypsy Tales in your favorite podcast platform or click the link in the description below. Gypsy Gang.